This is 3 News Daily.
Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to 3 News Daily. I'm Stephanie Haney here on this Monday, October 3rd. Thanks for being here for your top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. I'm sorry to say we start in Canton today, where their family is dealing with tragedy after a father and his 2 children, both students from Canton, were in a car accident on Friday, and the 2 children have died. Police say the father was driving a Ford F-550 truck, lost control, went off the road, rolled over and hit a tree. The father was taken to the Cleveland Clinic with life-threatening injuries, and the children died at the scene. Our Isabel Lawrence will have more information starting at 4 o'clock. We're thinking of that family today. And a plea deal has been accepted in the 2017 death of Serenity Sutley. This is a toddler from Conneaut. Joshua Gurto was originally charged with rape and murder, but those charges were reduced to involuntary manslaughter in July. Gurto appeared in court today to accept the deal. He was sentenced to 8 years in prison this morning. That'll be added to a previous 28-year sentence, which he is now serving. This is for a separate rape case. So in total, he's been sentenced to 36 years in prison, and the earliest that he'll be eligible for parole is December of 2052, and at that time, he'll be in his 70s. Now, at Garfield Middle School, students were on lockdown this morning. Police tell us that a bus driver found a bullet under one of the bus seats after students got off the bus. The driver says she also saw a student go over to a trash can and toss something in it before going inside the school. Garfield School security checked that trash can. That's when they found a handgun magazine loaded with 4 rounds. There was no firearm that was ever seen or found, though. The school and the police are aware of which students were involved, and the rest of the school was sent home for the day. And after a fight broke out at Summit Mall yesterday, we now know that a gunshot was fired. What we know so far is that a man and a woman inside the food court reported being assaulted by 2 men around 2:35 p.m. One of the alleged victims said the suspects started the fight, so the man who said he was being attacked pulled out his legally owned gun, and when the suspects saw the gun, they tackled the man to the ground, and when that happened, a bullet fired into the ceiling. We talked with someone who was at the scene. Here's what they had to say about it.
People were running for their lives, okay? And people were shutting down their gates. You can't even come and shop in the mall without fear of an active shooter. That's ludicrous. There's no way that something like that should exist in America.
That is very scary. After that gun was fired, the suspects left, and no injuries have been reported so far, and also the police have not made any arrests as of right now. This is a continuing investigation, so stay with us as we continue to gather more details. We'll bring those to you. Now, to a cheating scandal, a very fishy story at a fishing tournament over the weekend. Here is our own Emma Henderson with those details.
This fishtail starts in Cleveland at a tournament on Lake Erie. Walleye were weighed and a champion named, but something seemed off. It wasn't just the catch that was fishy, and a quick knife down one walleye sunk the new champion's hopes of taking any prizes home when weights and fillets were found inside.
But it's one thing when you're sitting there in a bar room talking to your friends and the fish that you say is this big is really this big. That's one thing. But these competitions bring people in from all around the country.
And Van Ho should know. Not only is he an angler, he's a criminal defense attorney. While the competitors Jake Runyon and Chase Kaminsky haven't been charged, charges are being considered, especially since some tournaments have prizes north of $100,000, including boats and cash.
But we call it theft by deception, which essentially is you tried to steal something by making what you were turning over different.
And while some are frustrated about the finances, others are hurt by men they considered friends out on the lake.
I'm angered about it. I'm sad about it. I've known Chase and I've known Jake, and no longer speaking or they're blocked from me.
Kenny Morris is a local angler and first mate on Lake Erie charters for 2 decades. He has hopes for future tournaments and stricter protocols.
If you're taking a fish that's going to place you into some money, they need to cut the fish open.
The end of this tale still leaves many questions, but the organizer who discovered these weighted fish wants competitors to know, quote, "I just genuinely care about running an honest tournament, and Lake Erie anglers deserve it."
They really do. Thank you for that, Emma. Now, of course, it's too soon to know if discovering this will lead to any changes in how fishing tournaments are run, but good for that organizer for noticing that. It's amazing what people will do to try and win some extra money. All right, it is definitely not Victory Monday, but we still have to talk about the Browns. They did end up losing to the Falcons on the road in Atlanta. They lost by 3 points, and now they're 2-2 for the season. What to say? What to say about this game? You know, it started off a little shaky. They went all the way down to the red zone. Very beginning of the game, could not score. So that's when we get into the debate of, we know head coach Kevin Stefanski believes in 6s over 3s. Get that touchdown if you can't do anything. He thinks that's better than a field goal. But in this case, if the Browns would have had that field goal in the beginning, they at least would have tied it, all things remaining the same after that, and gone into overtime. Tough to see it. You know, a lot of people were worried about how the defense would perform with Myles Garrett out because of the injuries with that car crash, and we're not really sure when he'll be back from those injuries. But the defense was doing all right in, you know, the middle of the game there. Yes, there were the unanswered points from Atlanta in the first quarter, but then the Browns came back in the second quarter, and at halftime, we had a ball game again. It was 10-10, but the Browns just could not finish it. But I will say this, it was a good game to watch. It was close. There were definitely some close moments that I really wish would have gone our way, but it was at least a game that was worth watching till the end. Now, hopefully, when they come back in the next couple weeks, they can maybe get some things together and pull it out in the end. Of course, we have our 3 News Jim Donovan. He gives his take on that. You can watch that on WKYC.com. Okay, now let's talk about downtown Cleveland, because Playhouse Square is expanding its neighborhood transformation project, and they've already fully restored the theaters, but now they're adding brand new marquees. That's what you're looking at right now. 5 of the 11 theaters are getting unique marquees inspired by their individual interior ceiling design. And if you've ever spent any time in New York City, been able to see a show there, you know, this is very Broadway. This is the kind of thing that really shows to the people from the street what the show is, and it's really just a beautiful signal of the way downtown is continuing to grow and become even more beautiful. So this project is going to cost $10.2 million. They hope to be done by next summer, and our Neil Fisher will have more about this starting at 4 o'clock during What's New. So that brings us to our question of the day. With the new look coming to Playhouse Square, we want to know, what show would you like to see in the theaters? I personally would love to see Come From Away come here. And if you're not familiar with that show, it's a beautiful show of one of the places where planes were diverted on 9/11 and the way everyone came together to really help those people. And the staging of it is absolutely incredible. It's a one continuous stage the entire time. It's the only Broadway show that I've seen twice. So I would love to see that come here to Cleveland. We want to know what you want to see. Post your comment on the WKYC Facebook page, and we will talk about it during What's New at 4 o'clock. All right, before we go, we need to shout out the incredible people of Cleveland, because thousands of people came together yesterday morning to help get funding to find a cure for Alzheimer's. This was at the Walk to End Alzheimer's at the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo. There were almost 3,000 people there walking on 317 different teams, and the most amazing part out of all of it is that the total raised is nearly $500,000.
It means everything. It means that the mission is gaining traction and awareness, and people aren't afraid to talk about it like it used to be. There used to be such a stigma with Alzheimer's and dementia, and I think people are at the stage that they're willing to talk about it, get help, as well as raise funds and awareness.
That was one of the executive directors for the foundation, and this is one of the largest fundraisers for Alzheimer's care, support, and research. Our own Laura Casa served as the MC there, and we had our own little team there. Myself, Marissa Sines, Christy Paul, our digital video producer Brian Crane, also our What's New producer Monique Zappa. We had a nice crew there. It was a beautiful, beautiful Sunday morning, and great to see people getting out there to support Alzheimer's research. Okay, thanks very much for being here with me on 3 News Daily today. I hope you all have a beautiful Monday, a great rest of the week, and we will be here back tomorrow with more 3 News Daily with your top stories. Make sure you download WKYC Plus if you haven't already, so that you can catch us streaming on your Roku and your Fire TV apps.